Hey, I'm Dr. Marcus.
And I'm Charlie, and this is the Mood Booster podcast.
In this episode, we're reflecting on apologies.
You'll learn why it's important to apologise, how to properly apologise and how not to apologise, and you'll also learn how to become a better person through apologising and how to find strength from it.
Yeah, we unpack some really cool research in this one, some theory around the components of apologies and what apologies actually look like as a process, but we also reflect ourselves on why apologies are important to us and what we've learned, not only through our dynamic, but just in our lives about apologies.
Exactly. This is a bit of a special one. If you're listening on any streaming platform, we would highly recommend heading over to YouTube. We're actually based in the Dolomites in northern Italy. It's an insanely gorgeous backdrop.
Incredible.
It's my personal favourite episode yet. It's genuinely insane. So make sure to head over there and to give it a watch. It's as I mentioned, a beautiful episode, and we hope you enjoy it too.
In this podcast, we share evidence-based tools, tips, and advice to help boost your mood, improve your well-being, and find joy in the everyday.
We talk about life's highs, lows, and everything in between, with real stories and reflections from our own journeys as well.
With pillars rooted in introspection, presence, and community, this is the home of well-being and joy.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone.
Buongiorno.
Welcome to the Mood Booster podcast.
Off the top, get onto YouTube before we say anything else.
Get onto YouTube.
You need to see where we are. This is just absolutely incredible. But yes.
But yeah, welcome to episode 26.
26.
Or 26, if you know where we are.
In
Italian.
Italia. Italia.
We are in the Dolomites right now. Again, get over to YouTube if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything. This is one to watch because of this insane backdrop, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible.
Phenomenal.
We are very lucky. We are very blessed to be here. We are having a lovely time. And we will get into that. But firstly, this episode is all things apologies.
We're going to go a little bit into what makes a good apology, how to apologise properly, I think, as well. Something that you should learn.
Yeah, some advice for apologising. Oh, me, sorry. Funny knee slapper, that one. But yeah, some advice for apologising.
Of course.
How, like you say, the process of apologising and why it's important. And I think importantly for us today, lots of reflections on our own experiences with apologies, why we think it's important, or
100%.
Different sort of variations of apology, or all the different things that we can break down there.
100%.
As always, some solid, very good advice towards the end, so make sure you stick around for that. On ways to give a sincere and impactful and lasting apology, I think, right?
Also, true, and the right way to receive an apology as well.
For sure.
What it means and what it embodies. Love that you said that, yeah.
But firstly,
yes, sir.
Like we said, we are here in Dolomiti.
We are. We've been doing a bit of a road trip, haven't we?
We've been RVing skirt.
Oh, it's been absolutely insane.
I know. So basically, just for some context, I've wanted to do a trail half marathon in the Dolomites for the longest time. I've wanted to come to the Dolomites for the longest time.
Yeah.
I've always just seen it and been like, this place looks phenomenal. And then there's been an Xterra race that I've had my eye on for so long.
That's the brand of
yes
race. Yeah.
So it's the brand, the organisers of the race. I've had my eye on it for so long. It's like a trail half marathon through the mountains, and last year I mentioned it to Charlie, and knowing that it was coming up, and then I saw the tickets being released in March, and I was like, I'm just going to book
January.
it. Yeah
Really early.
I booked them, and I was like, Charlie, we're going. Long story short, I was telling my friend from work, Tom, about the trip, and he was like, oh, my mate and I are going to do that. We're going to get an RV and we're going to drive around. I was like, Tom, I'm going to stop you there. I just need to text Charlie. I was
bulb.
Charlie, we're getting an RV. So we've just been
Absolutely
RVing around the
sublime.
Dolomites, haven't we?
It's been great. I've fortunately actually done one other RV trip in Canada before, but the scenery here is just insane. And the benefit, as we know, from doing an RV trip is just every single day is so different. So the first day we were in a little town called Molveno. This was for the actual trail half marathon, which we'll quickly get onto. But we've been in so many different regions of the Dolomites. We were in this German northern region in these like thermal spas, weren't we?
Incredible.
We're now here in like the sort of eastern region, the Tre Cime, the three peaks, which is, I mean, it's insane.
Ortizay as well.
Ortizay, of course.
Absolutely beautiful.
But yeah, the actual half marathon itself is just crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we arrived on the Friday, got the RV, parked up. Literally next door was the race village, or the hall to collect the bibs and stuff.
Hall,
I wouldn't say village, it was just like a table to collect your bib. But yeah, it's the most beautiful Italian village was just incredible with this wonderful lake. It's
Oh my good
so
God.
beautiful. It's the color of it. I can't even. What color would you call that?
It's an insane turquoise, like a sort of
Yeah.
cloudy blue, milky blue.
Yeah. Anyway, woke up the next morning,
Ridiculous.
did the race. There were 3 distances: there's a half marathon, 45 kilometers, and 62 kilometers.
64 kilometers.
Yeah, we went to the race briefing the night before, and they were telling everyone from all the different races all that information, and they were like, "Yeah, so you got to start at 4 a.m. and
This is
then
for the 64 kilometers.
yeah, start at 4 a.m. You've got to bring all these different things to keep you alive and all
was
your safety
insane.
stuff, and then you can finish at 10 p.m. So they're running from 4 a.m. till 10 p.m. on a 5,000 meter elevation.
What's that? 18 hours? No.
Yeah, God
Is it?
knows. Anyway,
long.
5,000 meter
It's long.
elevation. Ours was a measly 1.3
Kilometers of
Yeah.
elevation.
Did I say meters? I meant kilometers.
Yeah.
5,000 kilometers of elevation.
5,000. No, it's not 5,000.
Oh, Jesus. You know what I mean. Sorry, I didn't mean to blaspheme.
5,000 kilometers of elevation.
That is...
5K of elevation for
Yeah.
the 64, which is insane.
I'm getting carried away.
We're sort of skipping ahead here, but when we'd finished the race, we were eating dinner and we were walking through the town, and people finishing the 64K race who were quick were sort of just coming through the town, and we just stopped and started cheering them on, and they could barely raise their thumb up to say thank
They
you.
look like
Their
zombies.
mouths were agape. They couldn't see, it looked like. Their eyes were half closed, and they were just finishing the race. I mean, after like 14 hours of racing, I don't know how you function.
Yeah, God knows.
But
But we had
hands
the
off to
best time.
Completely.
We got our poles from decathlon before. We were
Oh,
like, do
yeah.
you think we'll need these? Immediately, yes.
God, it was insane.
We'd never done anything like this before. I hadn't, and you hadn't, and yeah, the nerves were there before, excitement as well, but nerves.
Yeah.
Everyone was hiking up, walking up.
Yeah.
So
A kilometre in, people just
yeah.
stopped running and having to hike it because it was so steep. It was that for 6 or 7 kilometres.
Yeah.
But the views when you get to the top is just insane. And we asked each other the question, the peak and pit question. What's your high and low of the trip so far? One of my highs, I was saying, was when we got to the top, or the top of the race. You know, we'd done at this point 9-10 kilometers of the race.
Yeah, we'd
A
stopped at
lot
the
of
snack
elevation,
station.
and there was this refugio, which is like a hut with all these snacks right at the top. There's little chocolate, oranges,
It was
Coca-Cola.
Really cool. So
Really
much.
cool stop. A lot of food there just to try and get it down your system so you can keep on going. And straight after this like sort of rest stop, you then have this descent down this rocky path. And we got on the speaker the song from Mulan, "I'll Make a Man Out of You." And we were in this crowd of people all just sprinting down, and we were all just chanting like "woohoo!" We were just running at full pace down this mountain path.
Yeah.
And the view, just this sheer drop to your right, but you're still just sprinting it, and it's
Yeah.
just absolutely elite.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Those poles were very much needed.
They were.
Not only for the ascent. For me, it was more the descent because
God.
yeah, they caught me like 3 times. The rocks were yeah, it was a bit hairy in places.
Yeah.
Also, almost got hit in the head by a
Oh my
boulder.
God.
Yeah, so we were snaking round these paths. So
Yeah.
you imagine you're snaking and going upwards, and then you come back on they're like hairpin bends. You come back up, and then you're going further up. Well, I was going along one, and obviously the path back on myself, but upwards there were people walking downwards. And all I know, the next thing is I'm walking, and this giant rock just falls in front of my face.
This rock is the size of your head, by the way.
The
It's
size
a
of my
massive
head,
rock.
and I'm just there like. Well, I don't even know what I'm thinking, but if that was a split second later, not even a second, that would have hit my skull.
You'd have died, 100%.
And basically, as a kid from the path above that I was about to run up, they had just kicked the rock down. And
we
you
look
were
up,
you were
and
so
there's-
angry.
Well, we look up and the parents are, "Oops, sorry," like they're looking all sheepish. I then, as we were running up past them, I just stop and say, "You need to shout. You know, if your kid does that again, shout, because we had no idea, and this small boulder just cascaded past your face
Yeah.
by an inch. It would easily
So-
kill someone, which is ridiculous. So the fact they didn't say anything, I was a bit angry about. But
Yeah, it was Esta muy loco.
it was loco,
Um,
esta muy crazy.
But yeah, no, overall that was an absolutely
The race
sublime
was
race.
insane,
Very
wasn't it?
difficult. Both of us were
Really
really
hard.
struggling towards the end.
I wasn't able to wear shoes for about 2-3 days after the race
Yeah, you
because the blisters on my toes. I won't include any pictures on Instagram, but the blisters on my toes were so painful.
I know
just
sorry.
Huh?
I know some of our followers that would appreciate you including some pictures.
of my feet. We won't name those few. But yeah, I literally couldn't put shoes on because it was so painful. So
Yeah.
ugly stuff, really.
Yeah, that was not good for you. Fortunately, yours truly went to the pharmacy
Yeah,
to the rescue
appreciate
to get
that.
some bits. But then that we spent some time with your mum because it was her
It's her
birthday.
birthday. She had a little solo trip out here.
Happy
So
birthday again to
happy
Tracy.
birthday, T-Dog. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, we had a sublime couple of days.
It was
Did
lovely.
some amazing hikes up some ridges. I went out to
Mhm.
dinner for her birthday and then some drinks afterwards, which was just absolutely lovely as well. So
Very, very lovely.
amazing that,
Wholesome.
because I hadn't seen her in like a month as well. It was great just to the first time seeing her in a month was at the finish line at this race, and then I was spending time with her as well. It was just brilliant.
Yeah.
So really boosted my mood.
Yeah, that was lovely. I enjoyed. Yeah.
Mood booster.
Hi Tracy, I know you're listening. I very much enjoyed your company, and
Yeah.
we're now Instagram friends. So big up. Tracy.
Finally follow Marcus on Instagram.
Yeah, made the cut.
Very privileged.
Yeah, no. So that was lovely being able to celebrate Tracy's birthday with her, and then we did the 3. Oh my God, we are so underprepared for this holiday. Well, we were so underprepared. We were like, let's just get an RV and drive around and see. There's the 3 peaks, as it's in English. Trecime in Italian. We knew nothing about it. We're there at the base of it,
in a car
just
park.
coincidentally, the night before in a car park.
It was rainy during the day,
Eating
so it wasn't
dinner.
very busy.
You made us some pasta, and we're just there like, okay, so what should we do tomorrow? Oh, we are near the Trecime, so
Should we look it up?
Let's look it up. Parking, you have to book a month in advance. Charlie's on Reddit. People are like, you have to queue for hours and hours and hours, and we're like, what is going on? What have we found ourselves going on? So we ended up basically planning. We're like, okay, let's lock in. We go down to the village, get loads of water, all of the reserves, everything planned. We're like, we're going to hike up there, 6 kilometers up, 10K round. We're going to do it
5:30 a.m.
Yeah, up at 5:30. 21 kilometer, if not more, all the way around with
round trip.
Another kilometer of elevation. Let's just do it. It'll be fun and it'll be an adventure because we're not going to stand in queues for hours and we can't park up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get a kilometer up the hill, up the mountain.
It's like 6:30 at this
my
point.
friend from my masters of all is so crazy. Charlotte just drives past.
Marcus, is that you?
Is that you?
What?
Do you want a lift? And not 2 seconds before, Charlie was like, if someone offers us a lift, what do you think? And I was like, nah, let's do the adventure. But of course, because it was Charlotte, I was like, yes, please, can we have a lift?
So we get in the back and just drive up the entire way.
We have an incredible time. It's absolutely beautiful up there.
Yeah.
I've never seen views like it. We're above the clouds. We're literally seeing the clouds. We'll share some on the carousel.
Yeah.
And have a lovely day. Then spends the afternoon with them. So yeah, it's just really cool.
That was one of
Charlotte
my peaks. Was just that entire walk around. It's one of those walks where the views that you just don't want to say anything. You just want to pictures don't do it justice. The only way to do it justice is just being unbelievably present and being like, this is the only moment that I can experience. And oh my God.
Yeah.
I was saying it to you and I also said it to Charlotte as well, that the size of these mountains over here and just the ridges and the sheer scale, in the nicest way, makes me feel so insignificant and small. Like, it's so peaceful and grounding to be surrounded by this entire ridgeline.
Well, I'm glad you're self-aware.
Yeah. It's all about me.
It's all about me. No, I completely get what you're saying.
It's a lovely feeling.
But it in less of a sort of, it's not sort of you're really small and insignificant. It's just a grounding.
It's
really
more of a grounding feeling. Yeah, just realizing that there are these big things have been here for millennia. Yeah, and they will continue to be.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, so we had a lovely afternoon with Charlotte and Tyler. But we probably sound very uncultured or very ignorant, being like, oh, we didn't know what Trecime was or whatever. But we just, we fluked this whole thing and it's worked out so well for us.
Yeah,
We're very fortunate. And again, just to say, and I know this isn't necessary, but for me, I've been looking forward to this for years. And then having it booked over the last few months, this is sort of a bucket list holiday for me. So
I mean, this is insane.
I know that this is very sort of lavish, but I've just been looking forward to this for so long. So I'm
lavish. We've been showering every 3 days or so. Is anything
lavish in a sense of it's not. Yeah, this is sort of holiday not everyone can do, and I'm super grateful.
Unbelievably grateful.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
And now here we are.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off there.
You did. Oh, thanks for apologising, Marcus. Did you mean it?
No.
No.
I always mean it to the point where I can't apologise if I don't mean it.
Yeah. I know, I've been on the experience, and you're like, I say sorry, but I don't know what I'm apologising for.
I'm like, I want to say sorry to reciprocate your apology, but I'm really struggling to understand what I'd be apologising for, and I don't want to have an empty apology. So can we just figure this out, please, and then I can apologise when I know your perspective, which is what's important to break down.
It's a bit annoying initially when that does happen, but it's probably a good thing, because if you actually are trying to understand, you'd be like, let me try and understand why this person has said this. or at least when I'm saying this to you,
Yeah.
you actually want to try and understand the apology, which is probably quite important.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we'll go into all of that.
100%.
But in planning this, we both thought it would be interesting
Or
to
prudent.
to
Yep.
understand
What an
what an
apology is.
apology actually is, or what saying sorry means.
100%.
As opposed to, yeah, and then to go into more of our own understanding and our
reflections.
own personal reflections with apologies and why they are or are not important to us and how
Yeah.
we receive them or give them and all those sorts of things personally.
Yep.
And I think then, even just, the research we've gone into, a lot of my apologies, and I know yours as well, link to what we'll be citing anyway. So,
100%. I think we
but
start
yeah,
with that.
look, we have been doing good research into this and found a very interesting study published in 2011 by Slocum and colleagues. And it's basically trying to understand what is an apology from a psychological, theoretical perspective. I just really like their abstract, very well written. I'm probably just going to skim through it. I won't read the whole thing, but I think it's better than me trying to paraphrase. So basically, Slocum and colleagues in their paper, they write, there is no consensus in the psychological literature regarding the operational definition of an apology, nor is there a comprehensive theory of apology. So therefore, the objective of this study or their study was to basically use a grounded theory methodology to develop a theory of apology based on a layperson's interpretation of an apologetic response. So they basically spoke to 23 individuals and asked them their interpretations of apologies from an intimate partner when the intimate partner's done something wrong to them, and they've asked them to reflect on those apologies and reflect on their interpretations of those apologies and what they mean and how they look. And that's with 23 individuals. And the analysis of that data suggested that there is not a single discrete definition of an apology, but that it is more appropriate to conceptualize apology as a process that consists of one or more of three components. And I'll go into those components, but basically they're saying, or they theorize, that an apology isn't a thing, it's not a noun, it's more of a process. It's something that we do.
It's an experience.
It's an experience. It's a verb, I guess, for lack of, to put it simply. It's a doing thing.
It makes sense, just to cut in there quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Because of our previous episode on forgiveness and the previous one to that is resentment. The wrapping up of that is the apology, or the sort of the way in which that comes about is an apology. So it makes sense for that not to be a definition, but more of a segue into something else, into forgiving. The apology needs to take place, but what that looks like could change. So it makes sense that it's a process.
Yeah, completely. It's 100% a process, and it's not one static thing. And how that looks also completely varies based on what we're apologizing for, right?
True.
So yeah, the three components that are part of this process are affect, which is, in other words, emotion and our emotional process, affirmation, and action. So basically, when we apologize, it's the emotional part of that process.
What it feels like.
Yeah, it's the affirmation. So in apologizing, you're potentially affirming to that person that the wrongdoing that you've inflicted, or you're affirming their emotions by what you've done wrong.
You're reinforcing.
Yeah, you're saying you're acknowledging your wrongdoing. Basically, you're affirming to them, I've upset you here, and but part of that is I'm sorry because I know that I've upset you. So you're affirming that. And then finally, it's action. So this whole paper is a very interesting paper, breaks down all of this. And the action part is then obviously making the change and doing something different moving forward.
Of course.
I would, like I say, we always have the references here at the bottom of the episode information. So very interesting to look into.
By Slocum, you said.
Yes.
Nice.
And colleagues. In 2011, it was published.
Well, check it out. I will.
But elaborating on that further, Lewicki and colleagues in 2016 then conducted a meta-analysis, which is a big study which basically summarizes lots of different studies. That's what a meta-analysis does. And it basically said an apology, an effective apology, one that's a good apology, is broken down into 6 elements, which includes those components that we've just mentioned.
Okay.
So the elements of an apology, which I think will then come on to reflect on ourselves personally, is expression of regret.
Okay.
Explanation of what went wrong. Acknowledgement of responsibility. So again, that's the affirmation.
Yep.
And when the previous two, expression of regret and explanation, is more of the affective, emotional sides.
It's the emotional.
Number 3 was the acknowledgement of responsibility and the declaration of repentance.
The declaration or the repentance.
Again, saying I affirm that I've done something wrong and I want to
repent,
and
take
make
action.
amends for this wrongdoing.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is offering of repair. And number 6 is requesting of forgiveness, which is completely obviously linked to last week, and requesting forgiveness. So it's those 6 steps which are important in an apology, but are linked to, the affect, the emotion,
The last one,
the
though, is
affirmation
also
and the action.
completely. The last one, the request for forgiveness, is also a bit affective, isn't it? So it's also about it's also about the emotion of it.
Yeah.
It's asking and it's being vulnerable.
We know forgiveness is fully emotion and vulnerability,
It is all vulnerability.
and asking for that. Sorry,
100%.
Yeah, so
Wow.
very, very interesting. A very interesting sort of breakdown of what an apology can look like and how to effectively apologize.
Yeah.
What does an apology look like for you, or why is it? Yeah, I'm interested to know.
That's a great question. What does it look like to me?
Yeah, well, should we start even before that? And what is your experience with apologies?
I think both go hand in hand. For me, an apology. I mean, yeah, I'll start with how I've always been apologizing and my sort of experience with it. I've never been someone to rush to instantly say sorry for my own presence or just like instantly. If I'm going to apologize, I want to make sure I understand what I've done wrong and truly try and hear it. When I was younger, I think I fell into a bit of a trap where I didn't feel like I wanted to apologize for certain things, even though I should have, because it made me feel vulnerable, I think, and like maybe weak. I think, yeah, growing up, I'm not sure if this would resonate with other guys particularly, because this is a thing probably in, more common in males that at least I've seen. But in myself, when I was growing up, I had these sorts of schemas about ways I should be strong, not get anything wrong, and, try and always hit the nail on the head. And when someone would come to me and say, you've done this wrong, or you've upset me here, or I've done this, I think before, when I was younger, my natural reaction would be to try and justify it or explain why it happened instead of just listening to what they're saying, understanding it and apologizing for it. I think I saw me saying, oh, sorry that's happened, or sorry that I've hurt your feelings. For me, that would come across as weak or like I've made a mistake, which, of course, as a young man growing up, I couldn't make a mistake. I had to be the strong one who was, getting everything right. And I had to be able to be seen to be strong, and, saying sorry would appear vulnerable. As I've grown older and as I've just been through more, very much learned that being vulnerable is being strong, is showing vulnerability, understanding emotions and other people. It's a sign of strength, and that is what allows me to actually be stronger. So hearing when someone says, hey, you've upset me here, instead of trying to justify why I said what I said or the reason that happened and, maybe how I felt, it would be, oh, we've got a little drone above us, yeah. It would be, okay, I'm sorry I've hurt you. It wouldn't be a rush to, well, I said this because of that, or they're just being silly. Like, of course I didn't get it wrong. It would be I'm really sorry I've hurt you. But it's taken me a long time to be able to learn how to apologize and why it's important as well. I know I mentioned there some other guys as well. I think the reason I had this sort of this feeling, or like the reason I couldn't apologize, was because, as I mentioned, as a man growing up, you often feel like you can't be vulnerable or show that weakness because otherwise you'd have got it wrong, and you'd have got it wrong. You weren't who you should be, or anything like that. I think there's a collective sort of understanding that, yeah, when you're growing up, you can't have been seen to have made a mistake.
Yeah,
which is wrong. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and when I learned that and accepted that, life got a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates with you.
For sure. It's lots to do with sort of pride.
I think so. Ego as well.
Ego-driven
100%.
behavior or schemas.
100%.
I need to be seen, or I need to feel a certain way about myself and believe a certain thing about myself.
Yeah.
Therefore, I cannot show or concede to anything that challenges that or allows any sort of vulnerability or wrongdoing, because then it means that I'm flawed.
Yeah.
And I can't be a flawed person because I need to be strong. I need to be all of the above. Breaking that down, what is gendered about that to you? Because I think I know, and I think I agree, but for the listener, I don't think needing to be right is a male only experience.
Not at all. I mean,
or needing to be strong.
I mean, I can only speak on my own experience as a male. But I think just due to how society's sort of set up in the way that, I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole of masculinity and what that means to be strong and to, not get things wrong, and all these sorts of these pockets on the internet and things you read and hear about how you can't show weakness or vulnerability because that, even goes down to crying. All these things it's deeply rooted in a lot of things of how we grow up. I think the reason I sort of gendered it a bit was
Do you mean things like things that come from like a patriarchal lens of
probably,
like
yeah.
toxic masculinity, or you can't you mentioned crying, you're not allowed to cry,
Well,
or
yeah, I think it's difficult because it's not one place. I think it just comes from these sorts of stigmas that we grow up with, whether it's from the patriarchy or whatever it is. We're grown up to sort of, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, but like, if a boy's growing up and he's like, talking to different girls, he's just like a heartbreaker. He's just going through all the sort of like those little things are perpetuating all these different things where the guy is the one who like breaks hearts, but he wouldn't have his own heart broken, for instance.
okay.
So that, just as a fleeting example, showing that emotion, showing that vulnerability, which often goes hand in hand with apologizing and understanding someone else's point of view, I think is deeply rooted in a lot of things that happen. Just I've seen as growing up as a guy.
I think as males we also aren't allowed, or for whatever reason, emotions not something that, and we're doing well to challenge that, but from a traditional lens,
Yeah.
you see a boy crying in the playground, what do we say? Don't cry, don't be a girl, don't be a all of these things that are associated with femininity, which should be challenged because that's obviously completely wrong and bad, in my opinion. I think likewise to show apology and remorse and wanting to understand how you've upset someone and therefore apologizing and wanting to um, reconcile with someone requires an openness to
And a vulnerability.
and a vulnerability to
100%.
be emotionally receptive and want to. It's like saying, I know we mentioned this to each other before, but it's like, bro, sorry,
Sorry, mate.
it's cool, let's leave it, sort of thing.
We're all good, mate. Come
That's so sort
Yeah.
of
I'll buy you a
shallow
beer.
and not shallow in a way, but like,
Yeah.
no, it's not a bad thing that people do that, but it doesn't really connect to what's actually gone on or understanding one another. Whereas it's like, Charlie, I've done something here, and obviously you're upset. Can we just can we break that down and talk about this so I can really understand and not do this again? That's showing like a wanting to connect with someone and a wanting to have an emotional connection with someone, which doesn't have to be like again, and that's why I think it's linked maybe to why you say a male experience of, for guys, it's not as easy for whatever reason to show that emotional connection with one another of, I want to understand your emotions so I can therefore
Yeah.
apologize sincerely, as opposed to just saying, bro, sorry. Like,
Yeah. Whether this happened, I mean, I'm sure this happens in a lot of households, but the image of the dad running out the house, or not running out the house, but screaming out the house, slamming a door, for instance, or being angry and shouting, is often comes from a lack of the ability to be vulnerable and try and understand where someone else is coming from. And that is so deeply rooted in what an apology is putting ego aside, saying, I'm going to understand or try and understand where this person's coming from so I can level with them. I'm going to, whether I want to address how I feel afterwards, that's absolutely fine. But this person has brought their issue to me, which I have seemingly caused. I'm going to try and level with them and try and understand that. That requires that ego to be put aside and try and level,
100%.
and that vulnerability. But if you have been taught, or if you've been raised in a way that, speak your mind, be firm, be strong, that sort of stuff is often quite, it goes against each other. And I think the reason I was mentioning it to be gendered was because a lot of those sort of typical things of, don't take any nonsense or be strong and like all these sort of things are often seen to be male associated things. And or
not
have been
necessarily correctly, but
not correctly at all. And that means that vulnerability often isn't readily available. Whereas women in my life typically have been a lot more ready to have those conversations, to understand where I've been upset or anything like that.
And it's good that we can challenge that and
I think we need
move
to,
past that.
because I think, as I said, being able to understand someone's point of view or being vulnerable with someone is true strength. It puts aside the ego and it's like, let me understand where you're coming from. If you can still be unwavering in the face of vulnerability and be emotional and connect with someone, I think that's true strength, because no one can take that away from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Just food for thought.
No, it is.
On my experience with it.
It is.
I've gotten better at it, definitely. Because it's been a conscious effort to try. But yeah, growing up, I'd say that's my experience.
In terms of vulnerability as well, moving a little bit away from gender, I think, which I completely agree with, and I think it's important that everyone can do better to apologise. But
100%.
males, I think, yes, there's a lot of that you're not allowed to show emotion, and therefore that apology is very emotionally driven. It's
Yeah,
it's one of the three components that we see in research.
100%.
But moving away from that a little bit to something else, which is something I experience, is I have lots of insecurities. Therefore, if I sometimes, when something goes wrong, or I have made a mistake that perpetuates an insecurity that I already have, I think something that I find myself needing to challenge, and I do currently challenge, but my knee-jerk reaction is subliminally in my mind, I'm like, if I apologize, then that's externally validating my insecurity and telling that person that I'm this kind of way, or I'm,
Mm,
if I think I'm, it's just a really basic example, but if I think I'm not an intelligent person
yeah.
and I make a mistake in writing, or I make a mistake in a conversation and I speak
Mm,
about something incorrectly, if I apologize and acknowledge that, in a way, that's me saying, I see it as, which isn't correct, but I see it as telling that person that I know I'm stupid because I'm apologizing for it. So it's sort of like perpetuating an insecurity in myself. Whereas if I am kind of stubborn in it and don't admit that guilt or admit that wrongdoing, it's kind of like, oh, well, maybe they'll just think that they're wrong, or that I'm,
mm,
whatever. I don't know what it is, but something about that apology is sort of perpetuating and putting that insecurity to someone else and allowing them to see that insecurity.
is that on the same spectrum as ego? Is that on the
Yeah,
spectrum of
definitely.
ego?
It's
Yeah.
vulnerability for sure.
Mm,
Um, it's allowing someone else to see a vulnerability of mine because I'm opening myself up to apologize. Which that's how, again, I'm trying to change how I see an apology, because that shouldn't be the
yeah.
case. And it comes from a self-confidence thing of I can apologize for something whilst also being confident that I can make one mistake and it doesn't define who I am as a
That's
person.
exactly, you've just hit the nail on the head
Mm,
there. Is that self-love and self-confidence? I
mm,
think the closer we can get to true self-acceptance,
mm,
the further we get from ego-driven things,
yeah,
and the more vulnerable we can be, because
mm,
we know mistakes don't define us. Who we are and who we're comfortable with actually is what defines us.
yeah,
So apologies can come from a better place. They can
yeah,
come more readily available,
mm,
and we can understand others more easily as well.
yeah. I think generally speaking, I'm someone who has grown up with observing people finding it very difficult to apologize and
Okay.
not apologizing as much as I personally think would be necessary. But,
Mm,
then later on coming back to a situation and changing their actions, but without putting words to it. And I'm someone that thinks an apology is a sign of respect. It's an acknowledgement. It's an, like the research shows, it's an affirmation of wrongdoing, and it's a verbal sort of cue to be like, I'm holding myself accountable here. And me being, as I've mentioned in many episodes, someone who has an injustice sensitivity. If you've done something wrong, I think you should owe it to that person you've done something wrong to say sorry. I think it's a sign of respect. Like
mm,
if you love someone or you're grateful for them, I think it's always nice to verbalize all the things, whether it's good
yeah.
or bad. I'm really grateful for your presence here. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend. I'm so grateful you're whatever X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you feel like you've disrespected them or you've upset them, it's a respectful thing to acknowledge that and say I'm sorry, as opposed to
Mm.
just changing your actions and moving on.
I do think there's a balance there to strike. Do you think if you're so readily
Yeah,
yeah, available to apologize, it takes the meaning away from it though?
for sure. I'm someone who's like that, and again, so it's a bit tricky because I have both. I feel like I have both. I'm someone who's grown up, seeing, whether it's in the family or in social circles or whatever, just people in general struggling to apologize.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe changing their actions, and you can subtly see that they've changed their actions, but they've never acknowledged wrongdoing and been like, I effed up there, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to sort of, because it frustrates me so much, always tried to be like, I want to make a change there and be a better example of how to apologize for
Yeah.
myself and for my own values, to sort of embody the values that I want to see in society. So I try to do that, but I'm also someone who this all sounds very woe it's me, and I don't mean it to, but I'm someone who, like, in certain ways struggles with confidence. And so I'm quite, in business meetings or whatever, up until very recently, I would sort of be the one who's apologetic for my presence, and I try not to take
Mm.
up too much space with talking. And I'm always like, oh, okay, yeah, and I finish every sentence with, oh, but I don't really know, because it's some form of, that's not an apology, but it's always like, oh, I don't want to be too
I'm just
egotistical.
doing this,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna
I'm
do that.
just this, like always trying
Yeah,
to minimize.
of course.
So in that sense, I feel like I walk into a room kind of apologizing for my presence. So
Yeah.
it's always a balance of, I'm trying to apologize for doing the right thing, but sometimes I do feel like I apologize too much. And to come to your point, it then takes the value away, because it's like, well, if you just keep apologizing, firstly, you just keep apologizing for the sake of it. What does that apology actually
It
mean?
doesn't mean anything to the
But
person apologizing to.
more importantly is if you apologize without actually doing anything about what you're apologizing for,
Yeah.
then, and like the research shows, you've got to have the action associated with that process
You need
to
to be able
make a
to move forward.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a funny balance, isn't it? Because if, as you've just said, if you're apologizing for absolutely everything, of course you'd apologize for when someone comes to you with something actually which has hurt them. You're like, oh, so I'm so sorry. It's like,
Mm.
no, you're not listening. Like, this has really hurt me. Like, no, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't want to
Mm.
offend you. It's cool. Well, this person would apologize if I said he, drunk too much water, whatever it is.
Mm.
Like, part of an apology is understanding where they're coming from and not just apologizing off the bat.
Yeah.
But it's weird how on one end of the spectrum you've got what you're saying is apologizing for your own presence,
Mm.
which comes from insecurities, which is ego, and then the other is you think you're too good to apologize because of these egos and you need to be strong.
Pride. Yeah.
It's all on the spectrum, whether it's pride or insecurity.
Yeah.
It's all ego driven.
Finding that balance.
It's just I think it's distancing yourself from these feelings of pride or insecurity and knowing that it's actually about what the other person's saying to you and understanding their own point of view.
I think it's wanting to do well by the other person as well. We are
Yeah.
pro-social individuals. Well, we try to be. We live in a community.
Yep.
We live in relationships. We live in families. We live in all of the above.
Yep.
That we are humans who make mistakes on a daily basis. We're not defined by those mistakes, but we do make mistakes.
Yeah.
And therefore, that process in trying to find harmony with people is making amends for wrongdoing, and
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do, right? I personally think, and I don't mean to sound like I'm on a soapbox, but I feel like in an individualistic culture, which what I mean by that is, a culture whereby people put themselves first and their community second, and they need to look after themselves, often associated with capitalism as well. You've got
Western,
to make Western
the US
countries.
or...
I've got to make my money to look after me and my family unit, and then my community can come second. I feel like in those societies, in England, I feel like we struggle to apologise. We're so proud, and so
we're always ready to apologise in Britain,
and that's
like a cultural thing.
Yeah.
In the
true.
US, I'd say that's Western cultures, but I think instead of looking at whether we find it hard or difficult to apologise, what the apologies actually mean.
Superficial apologies, maybe.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on the bus, or I'm in the way on the tube. Sorry. Like always, yes, polite English values, agree. But when it comes down to like real important apologies, I do feel like, I don't know, maybe just from my lived experience, and I'm only one person, but I do feel like people struggle to apologize, and myself included. I struggle because I'm struggle because it's like you say right at the beginning, it's a pride thing, it's a vulnerability thing. I want to be seen to be the correct one. I want to always be the one that's got the trumps here, all of those things. And as soon as I apologize, this isn't correct, but as soon as I apologize, the schema is I'm weaker. I'm below that person or whatever it is.
It's funny because the truth is the opposite. Not that you're stronger. I mean, but you get stronger. I genuinely think being able to be empathetic and understand someone else fully, even if they're in the face of wrong, still putting that first makes you so much stronger. Genuinely, just like understanding other people and listening and caring for others, even if you don't quite agree. Just say something. Well, I'm genuinely sorry that I've hurt you in this way.
Yeah.
That gives strength. That means you're a stronger person for that.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that.
Our friendship and working together has done a lot for my sort of... I've always been someone who's, I'd like to think, tries to apologise. But I think that it's done more for the process of apology for me.
Okay.
In a sense of, I like to apologise for something that I know that I've done wrong.
Yeah.
To points where we've had things happen and I've literally said the words to you, I want to apologise in this moment because I can see you're upset, but I don't know what I'm apologising for.
Yeah, that's empty.
And so therefore, can we discuss this so I can have a better understanding? And that's where and part of the advice we have today is like actually understanding the wrongdoing, because we only have our perspective, and sometimes we're asked to apologize, which is a really important thing to cover. We're asked to apologize, and we build resentment towards that apology because we're like, I don't think I've done anything wrong here. I shouldn't have apologized. I have my perspective here, and I was in the right. I was just defending myself. I was just doing this. And actually, a big part of the process of apologizing is actually understanding either the other person or the other group or whatever the other party is that you're apologizing to. Completely. And something that us working together, as we have, because we work together on a daily basis, we have disagreements,
of course.
And I feel like I've done a lot to work on okay, I don't necessarily disagree right now with
Mm.
needing to apologize, but I can see you're upset, therefore I want to make amends and correct that. Therefore,
Of course.
can we work on helping both of us understand each other's perspectives
Yeah.
to then get to a place of apology and remedy?
It's often when there's two people who have both been hurt in a situation, though. It takes a strong person, and it takes both people involved to want to understand the other. Because if you're hurt yourself,
Yeah.
like there have been many times when we've had arguments and we're both hurt from it, and we're both arguing a different point, and we're not listening to the other person's point, and that can happen in so many ways. You're there saying your point, and you are correct,
Yeah.
and they're saying their point, and they're correct, and neither of you are actually arguing the same point.
Yeah.
And you're there like, well, I don't understand because I'm saying my point. It's like both of you are right,
Mm.
but it's when you park. Okay, let me just park how I feel for a second
Mm.
and understand what he's saying. Okay, I'm really sorry for saying that because I know that hurt you. It's when you start to say, oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way, is when it starts to become a half-assed apology. You're not listening and you're saying it more just to get your point over sooner.
I'm
It's-
sorry if you're upset.
I'm
is
sorry that you're
not-
upset.
Yeah.
That's not an apology.
No, and no one wants to hear that. It's just extremely invalidating.
Yeah.
Because that's not an apology. That's not taking accountability. That's I'm sorry for your interpretation of my behavior.
It's not
Actually, I'm
understanding.
not sorry for how my behavior's upset you
It's
or
not
what I've
understanding,
done.
is it?
No, it's not showing understanding.
I do think it's important to mention that if you have also been hurt and this person's bringing to you in an argument, which very typically happens, it's very easy to feel like you're arguing the same point, but you're actually arguing completely different points. Like, yeah, multiple arguments where we've been doing it. I was saying, you said this, and this is why I was saying. You're like, well, you did this. I'm like, okay. We're both then trying to get our points across and shout our points, but neither of us are ready to listen because we're too busy saying our own points.
Yeah.
But it's when one person can say, okay, let me park that. I'm hearing you and I understand what you're saying. And I'm sorry for that. And maybe you then later in bring an explanation as to why it happened. But I think if one person has the respect to do that, then the other also owes the respect to hear that same person out and be like, thank you for apologizing. Just to check, you're saying this now. I'm also sorry for that as well.
Yeah.
Because you'll very quickly find if two people can park that and say sorry for what the other person's actually asking for, the argument will end a whole lot sooner.
What do you think, therefore, can take, and it's okay that it takes time to apologise?
I think it's necessary.
Because in an argument,
I think it's necessary.
you can't often hear each other in the moment because you're so sort of either wound up, physiologically, you can't hear someone, you're angry or you're peed off, whatever it is.
I think then and there
things take
expecting an
time.
apology is often unrealistic. I think it's completely valid that if you want to have a half an hour walk or a 20-minute, let's not talk for 20 minutes and just go away and think. I think that's all it can take just to have a bit of like a cool off or just to relax. I think if you're apologizing instantly, it can happen because you maybe you're trying to rush to a resolve. Resolve isn't always instant. Resolve can happen over time. And so I think it's absolutely fine if you want to be like, right, we're not getting to an agreement, 20-minute break, and we come back in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to do that for longer, an hour or 2 hours. I think ideally within the same day, sleeping on a lack of apology is not great.
No.
I think that's probably a rule to have.
Yeah, I hate going on.
It starts to settle in. So if you can, I think a good rule to have is never go to bed on an unresolved argument. But try and take at least 20 minutes away to be like, I'm going to just cool off, let my brain settle down to a normal, then maybe I can understand them better. And that you'll find, I think, will resolve the argument a lot quicker.
Yeah. I think what we're coming back to is mutual understanding. And that's important in any sort of relationship, understanding one another, whether it's in terms of apologies or managing expectations as we've gone over, or understanding someone's love language or whatever it is. It all comes back to understanding and open communication and really trying to understand someone's perspective. But then also when it comes to apologies is the sincerity. The sincerity of, okay, because I understand you, I can now more wholeheartedly apologize and feel like I'm apologizing for something that I understand I've done wrong. And then moreover, again, all of these link back to the research, is because I understand now your perspective, I can change, I can take action to not do that again, not upset you in that way again. And we're talking about arguments in relationships, friendships, families, but this also relates to much bigger things of my research is in forensic psychology, my background, and talking again about restorative justice and offenders apologizing,
criminals,
making amends with their victims. And it's the same thing, that from a low level to really severe
murderers
offending, it's always the same, of actually understanding the impact my offense has had on you as my victim. making amends for that, understanding that, apologizing with emotion for that, and truly actually apologizing for the impact I've had, not just the action of, whatever I've done.
Yeah.
But then finally also the gold standard and the aim is that through, rehabilitation and whatever, I'm apologizing and making actions, changing my behavior so I don't do this again to either you or someone else. At all levels, apologies are those same foundations, right?
Also yourself.
Yeah.
Why are you any different to
Such
a
a good
criminal?
point.
Also apologizing to yourself, self-forgiveness, resentment to yourself. All these things we have. Why is not apologizing to yourself just as important as apologizing to someone who you've done wrong by?
Well, I think it's such a good point also because in an apology, and this is something that is very pronounced within the offending population, is a self-fulfilling prophecy of I'm a bad person, I'm an offender. I'm labeled as an offender, therefore I'm not a person first, I'm an offender first, I'm bad. I therefore don't forgive myself, I don't like myself. So when I apologize, because if I see myself that way, I'm probably never going to change my actions because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
To be able to successfully apologize, we need to also have compassion to ourselves and not label ourselves as these bad people. We're people who make mistakes and therefore are able to not make those mistakes again.
Yeah.
So, like you say, the self-forgiveness is so important within an apology to someone
Self-apology.
else. But yeah, for like apologizing to myself and saying I'm someone who's made that mistake, but it doesn't mean I have to make that again, and I can forgive myself because I'm coming to terms with myself as well.
It can
It's
literally be
so
as simple,
important.
whether it's written, voiced out, or
Mm,
said into your voice memos on your phone, just saying, "I'm sorry, Charlie, I did this.
yeah.
That wasn't in line with who I am or what I want to be.
Mm,
That's absolutely fine. I'm genuinely sorry. I understand." Again, a huge part, understanding. I understand why I did this. Maybe I was angry. Maybe I was harboring resentment I wasn't aware of.
mm,
But I've learned. I dealt with how I dealt with it with the tools I had at the time.
mm,
It all goes back to loving yourself and say, I'm sorry. And that relinquishment of understanding why you've done something and then apologizing to yourself.
yeah.
I've used it personally and many
Mm,
times, and
yeah.
it's very freeing because it knows that you aren't your previous actions.
Yeah.
You are who you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you've done something bad which you regret or something that you're remorseful for, saying sorry to yourself can
Mm-hmm.
let go of all that.
Yeah.
Maybe that resentment which you're harboring.
Yeah. I think it's also telling, this is coming back out of self-apology, but still very important, is that I don't know if you think, but I think sometimes the hardest people to apologize to are the ones, well, I know the hardest people to apologize to are the ones who are most important to you.
The ones who we love the most.
Yeah. And
I
that
know
then
that.
comes back to the vulnerability thing and all of that,
Jesus,
if we
that's a
can
really good
acknowledge
point.
that and know that that's the point and know that that's something that we experience, then it's one of the first hurdles of, I can't apologize to you, my partner, or to you, my brother, or to you, my parent, because
Yeah.
you mean the most to me, and in apologizing, that requires me to be fully vulnerable with you.
It's probably quite easy to say someone who you've bumped into or someone who you will never see again.
Easily.
I'm really sorry for that. I was in the sauna with a friend Dima recently, and I poured hot water accidentally down one of the sauna spouts and it spat over everyone. I was instantly, guys, I'm so sorry. Is everyone okay? I was instantly apologizing. I was like, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's fine. I was like, no, genuinely, really sorry.
Mm,
But as you said there, the ones who we love the most, the ones who we have the strongest connection to,
mm,
there often won't be an apology there ever, and that's
Yeah.
the saddest part because
Yeah.
those are the people who should be hearing it most.
But I know from personal experience where one can apologize and have that communication in a relationship of any form, they are the strongest when that is
Yep.
when you're able to break through that barrier
Yep.
and get to that point for both people, and it's so extremely rewarding and just
Healing.
so healing, and just you feel like you're heard as the person, as both parties, you both feel heard.
That's a really good point you've raised. I love that. The ones who we love the most, we need to apologise.
Well,
We should,
yeah,
not always, but yeah, the ones who
we struggle to
we do
most.
struggle to apologise
Mm.
to those ones the most.
And it completely goes full circle back to the beginning of vulnerability, and in a relationship, or like you said, when you're growing up, I needed to be the strong one. So
Yeah,
in my family, I can't apologize to my mum or my brother because
that
I'm the
shows I'm
strong
doing.
one here and I can't be weak.
Of course. Or my partner who I've done wrong by, I
Yeah.
can't apologise to them because I should have got it right. And me
Mm.
apologising says that I've done it wrong.
Yeah.
However, I'm happy to apologise to someone else who I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
And then,
It does make it makes
I
perfect
mean, it
sense.
makes perfect sense. And then lastly, with ourselves,
Mm.
arguably the most important person in our lives is our own brain.
Mm.
Apologising to ourselves for stuff we've done.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's yeah. I work a lot on apologies and trying to be better at it, and to the point where I'm so literal, and you've laughed at me in the past being like, I literally say to you, in mid, I'll go, I want to apologize to you, but I do not understand why I need to apologize or what I've done wrong. So can you tell me?
Right. Okay
It's
then.
because I literally know I need to and should apologize, but I'm so literal about my actions and my words that I want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm being sincere. So I just have to be like, can we break this down, please? Which, yeah, I guess isn't a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it's just quite funny, I
Wow.
guess.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot
advice.
there. Yeah, on how to apologize, tips and tools.
Yeah.
I think we start with that.
Tips.
As always.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I was just gonna say
Sorry.
knee slapper. That's a real knee slapper.
Real knee slapper.
Tips and tools for how to effectively apologize.
hmm
Take
Number one is be specific and honest.
number 2, acknowledge the impact.
Number three is to offer some sort of repair.
Number 4, don't rush an apology or forgiveness.
Number five is to practice self apology.
Yeah. And finally is number 6, when receiving an apology, you don't actually have to forgive straight away. And that's, again, not rushing, right?
Yeah, exactly. For
So,
sure. The first one, be specific and honest. I think it's sort of it says what it says on the tin, whatever
mhm,
that saying is. Name the behavior as
mm,
this is understanding. Be specific. I said this. I called you this, and I hurt you. And I'm sorry for that.
yeah,
Just labeling it. It brings you down to their level, or it brings you up to their level. Gets you on the same page.
it does. But it's importantly rooted in that mutual understanding
It
and
is.
first breaking down what's actually gone on so
Yeah.
I can then be specific and honest in my apology and have integrity with it, right?
100%. Yeah.
Which then leads on to also, in doing that, I can also acknowledge fully and understand the impact of my
The
behavior.
impact.
Because we understand each other, I can understand that emotional impact and I can, acknowledge that
Yeah.
and affirm that, as the research shows as well. I can affirm from understanding you that this is the impact I've had.
It's so important here to know that the impact of what happened is far more important than the intent of what was said. So
Mhm.
if you've said something, just pause. If you're trying to explain why you said it, pause. Hold up, put the brakes on,
Mhm.
listen to what the impact was, because that's far more important. Instead of being like, well, I said this because of that, or this is why I said it. Doesn't matter why you said it for a second, just
Mhm.
apologize for the impact it's had, because that's what's hurt that person.
Yep. And
Yeah.
next is really about the action. So offering repair, it's not just apologizing with words, but actually asking, how can I make this better? What would make this better for you? And
Yep.
putting that into action. So yeah, like I say, whether however that reparation is, it's making a change to your behavior so this doesn't
Mm,
happen again. So I'm taking my affirmation and like affirming the impact to the next stage of, okay, I know that that was wrong and I'm sorry for that. Literally, I'm sorry, and this is how I'm going to change moving forward.
hmm
I'm going to repair this moving forward.
Completely. The next one is to don't rush forgiveness, and this can also be the same as don't rush the apology.
Yeah.
If taking 20 minutes out to just cool down is
Hmm.
absolutely fine. If you aren't coming to a conclusion, you're shouting and you're doing this, just go for a quick walk. Both of you just say, "Let's go for a walk and cool off." If you can say that, you can probably come back with a lot of a cooler head as well,
Yeah, for sure.
and the apology will mean more because you understand.
Yeah, and not on the forgiveness side is like your apology is about you taking responsibility. It's less about demanding immediate reconciliation with that person. They will also need to take their time.
Of course.
So what you need to do is apologize and take responsibility and let the rest unfold, and it
Yeah.
will unfold if it's supposed to. It will do, and just trust that if you're truly taking accountability, the reconciliation and that forgiveness will come, but it won't be necessarily immediately.
Instantly, and that's also fine. It doesn't mean
Hmm.
anything.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that you guys can't get over it. Just that's completely normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Do you want to take the next one away?
Yeah,
You
the next
said
one,
it very well.
yes, practice self apology. Again, as you said, really, really well. The ones who we love the most, often we need to apologize to, and ourselves, our own brain, where we live. Practice that self love and
Mm,
kindness, and know that it's absolutely fine to apologize to yourself. Whether you write it down or speak it into your voice memo on your phone, just apologize and know that your previous actions of which you've done don't represent who you are today.
yeah, for me, it's so important because it's for the self-compassion and then moving away from the self-fulfilling prophecy and the self-schemas of I'm a bad person. No, I'm just a person who's made a bad decision. And
Yeah,
it's flipping that, apologizing to myself as well, and forgiving myself. That then means that I I'm less likely to make those mistakes in the future because I don't define myself by those mistakes.
and it allows you to move forward
Yeah,
with good intent as well because you've understood yourself.
for sure.
Yep,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, I think just for the other person as well,
yeah,
and linking with it not being immediate when receiving an apology. it's important that you receive that with grace, I think, and we haven't gone into this loads, but I think it was important we touch on receive that with grace, and that yes, that someone's showing you vulnerability, so it's important that you deal with that well, and you deal with you handle that kindly and with compassion and with grace. But at the same time, just because they're apologizing, you don't have to immediately forgive them, and these things take time, and it's okay for that to be a process, and these things can be confusing, but it's something that we work on together, and as long as that communication is kept open and we're trying and doing that with grace and humility
and kindness,
we can do.
That means you're strong.
So we can do it together.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that.
That was wow. I've learned so much there.
It's
That
really
is
cool.
almost my favorite episode. Yeah, possibly if my favorite. That was, God, yeah. Something I'm still learning to do.
Yeah,
is just being strong through vulnerability, and it's a process. But all those points there are so valid.
Yeah,
because it's showing kindness as well, which we all need to do a lot more of, every single person.
Yeah, I think so. For me, yeah, I think it's the small daily apologies I need to find a balance for. I don't know. Like I'm sorry. I think saying it too much is also detrimental, and something I need to work on. But yeah, overall, a lovely conversation.
Lovely episode.
I hope
Thank
you
very
have
much.
taken some things away from that.
100%. I hope you have learned a lot. I have. If you haven't, sorry.
And thank you as well.
Thank you as well.
That boosted my mood for sure.
That boosted my mood.
Talking
Speaking of,
oh gosh, we're too excited. We keep talking over each other.
Mood boost.
Charlie.
Yes.
Have you got a mood boost for me?
I do indeed. Weekly mood boost. My weekly mood boost was Dom, our guest on our recent episode on mentors. His video where he was cycling with his dad recently got 1 million views.
You can't comprehend that.
1 million. Imagine 1 million people in a building.
They wouldn't fit.
The building could be quite big.
It would be a giant building.
Building the size
bigger
of
than that
Luxembourg.
Mountain. Yeah. That's crazy. Congratulations, Dom.
I sent him in a little because he put on his Instagram, sending some recommendations for what I should do. I said that he should cycle from China to London.
Very cool.
On one bike.
Great suggestion.
I don't know if he's going to do that.
Probably not. But either way, great
well
stuff.
Done, Dom.
Well
it's
done,
great
Dom.
to see you still winning in life.
Very wholesome content.
What about you? What was your weekly mood boost?
So our friends who picked us up from the hike, the hitchhiking friends.
Oh yeah.
My master's friend Charlotte and her partner Tyler. They shared their news with us yesterday that they are buying their house together.
Let's go.
So that's really exciting for them, and congratulations to both of you, Charlotte and Tyler. Yeah, very, very exciting. In line with progressions, becoming a qualified psychologist as well, which is huge. Congratulations again, Charlotte. In line with all of those sort of progressions, moving in together is really exciting. So congratulations.
Well done. Congratulations.
Yes.
Well,
I'm very happy from that.
I'm very happy from that.
Happy to be here.
Again, if you're not on YouTube, I mean, it's the end of the episode, so if you're listening to this, rewatch it on YouTube, but at least have a look on our Instagram or whatever. It's all on there.
I'm quite emotional. I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Oh, you're all right.
It's so lovely.
Without the mics, I'm going to not hug virtual because the mics might just disconnect, but...
This is just... I'm just so blessed. I'm so lucky.
Very grateful indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's all because of you.
Yeah.
And us, of course, and you as well. So more important to you.
Yeah.
Of course.
Shall I do some ASMR while you turn the mics off?
I think so.
ASMR from the mountains in Italy, the Dolomiti to be specific. Ciao ragazzi.